Oftentimes, people worry more about the cost of a negative social interaction rather than setting a boundary for themselves to deal with someone. I found this an issue to be when I was younger. Like, I was too scared to cut someone off, block someone, unfollow someone, or just turn my back to them without needing to really explain myself. Like, I don't need to explain myself to you. I think what happens is people look at blocking someone or ignoring someone as an aggressive act, and they'll take it like that too, even if it's a passive thing to do. I think this is more of a cultural or societal thing because people feel as if someone is speaking to you, you owe them a response. Even if someone who is communicating with you is actively pushing your buttons, or they're invading your personal boundaries, or just being straight up like negative, like obviously when a lot of people feel entitled to someone's time, it feels like pressure to respond to them, even if you don't want to communicate any further, even if you don't want to talk about this, even if you don't want to do this and that. I think what I'm saying right now though is going over a lot of people's heads, especially those who have found themselves constantly ignored by people. You're probably thinking about what I'm saying, being like, oh, so you're just another one of those people who just ignores people, Like, I've been ignored by a lot of people. I hate it, you know what I'm saying? You're one of those people, Aku. Yo, you know what the real issue is? Look, you know why people get ignored often? Because they don't get the hint. That's one reason. Two, they feel some sort of entitlement, so they take it very personally. Or three, they feel like it's everyone else's fault. It's society and yada yada, and then there's some chosen or special person in society who is misunderstood by the masses, so that's why they're ignored by people because there's some special entity or something like so, and which also comes in a form of entitlement as well. So when you have this feeling of obligation to reply or communicate with someone, right, who is actively crossing the line with you, and you're too scared to cut them off, I don't know how else to say this bluntly, but you're being too nice. Being nice is really a trap here. You're trying to obligate yourself to be accessible to everyone for some reason. And that reason can be deeply subconscious that only you really understand. I can't be the one to tell you, like, why do you find yourself, why do you need to be accessible to everybody? And there's a big difference between being friendly versus just allowing everyone to just have access to you. Do you get what I'm saying? There's a big difference between the two. And I think people confuse this off the time. Like, I'm friendly, but you give everyone your time and your space. Like, is it really friendliness, or is there some reason why you just, you can't say no to somebody? You can't just like not reply. You can't just like block someone. You can't just close a DM. You can't just ignore it. But doing this, right, when you don't know how to do any of this stuff and you think you're being friendly or you're accessible to everybody, you put yourself in situations where you attach to people. And attachment isn't bad, but you'll attach to people even if you don't like them as much. Where if you later decide to distance yourself, it's difficult to do so due to the attachment. And I say that with an asterisk, because you can get attached to someone you really don't like as much, or maybe have some sort of resentment or unwelcoming feeling towards that person, but that person may not even be remotely aware of it, or is ignoring all the signs of that. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, some people, sometimes you just don't give the signs, and sometimes people just, you get what I'm saying? Like, they ignore all the signs. And then when you start distancing from that person because you feel that resentment or feeling, that person will react very poorly to you, right? Which I understand too. Look, I've been frustrated by this before, where, like, I'm sure you've been through this too, whoever's watching, but I didn't know someone felt a way about me this whole time, yet they were communicating with me consistently. It just went over my head, and then I would like read back the chat, and I'd be like, oh, I didn't even recognize, like, oh, I totally didn't see that. And then suddenly it's either, this is what happens usually when it went over my head, right? And then I finally figured out, because usually something happens before that. Suddenly I'm either bombarded with everything that I did to make them feel resentful, or they just randomly get distant, right? They just almost like disappear off the planet. Like, they don't talk to me anymore or anything like that. They're, you know what I'm saying? And it's frustrating, obviously. And look, I've done the same to people as well. Like, I'll still talk to them, but talking to them is just annoying to me. Like, it's just mentally draining to me. Like, I just don't like them, like, but I'll feel bad if I randomly start going like, I don't like you because XYZ, or like, I found a way to just like express my frustration about them, or just blocking them or ghosting them out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but what I started to implement now with this type of situation, if I ever find myself in that, and hopefully this could be useful to anyone here too, if I do have any sort of resentment or frustration towards someone and I am communicating with them consistently, I don't just randomly bring it up. That's like the biggest mistake ever. Like, I wait for the opportunity where the topic can be brought up. Like, let's say, sorry, I hit my mic. Let's say we play games together, right? We're playing this multiplayer game, and I find it very frustrating and stressful how you're always yelling in voice chat and being toxic in game. I'm not going to bring it up randomly when we're talking about random stuff. Like, that's actually very counterproductive. This is why I say it's a mistake, because it will actually shy someone away from speaking with you. Because y'all could be having a positive and nice conversation, then you decide to randomly bring up something you're resentful or frustrated about. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, so now I'm going to associate you with the type of person where if we're having a positive and gentle conversation, you just decide to flip it to something negative. Like there's a time and place where you need to bring something up. You know what I'm saying? In that example, I would bring it up after a game privately. And always consider the emotions of somebody. Someone is clearly angry over a game, right? In my example, you shouldn't approach them with more fuel to the fire. Like, don't just start DMing them and just start like going off on them because no, you're being toxic. I mean, they're being toxic, so now you're kind of being toxic. It's like you're adding more fuel to the fire. You should speak with care, compassion, and understanding to why the game is frustrating. And look, it doesn't help the team chemistry, and it's very distancing to you. It's also distracting to the rest of the team or the party. And if they actively disregard how you feel, that's when you are justified to break someone off or at least begin to distance yourself. But here's another thing too, and it kind of goes with what I'm just saying here. Not everything needs to be broken off though. I started implementing this where, like, I even said this in older videos, but like my mom, for example, I can't talk to my mom about certain things. This pessimistic, cynical, over judgmental responses I always get, and it's always like shielded with this, I'm your mom, I'm allowed to talk to you this way or say this. Like, you know, all it doesn't really make me, it's like, you know, it doesn't work. So even if I share an accomplishment or achievement, there's always like something negative to attach to it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't need to cut my mom off though. You get what I'm saying? I could keep it cordial. I could keep my distance. And I do this with people too who are not family. At certain points, some people who I used to have very personal conversations with, I ended up finding some of these conversations, they ended up being very unwelcoming, very toxic. Feels like I can't open up to you anymore or whatever. So, hey, listen, I'm not going to block you or anything like that, but there you go. You just got demoted. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about things. We just won't talk about certain things anymore. And if the only thing we talked about were those certain things, well, you know, I guess we have nothing to talk about anymore. And this is what I meant about the attachment part. We got nothing to talk about anymore. And obviously, you know, the conversations are ultimately negative. I should have never gotten myself in that situation to begin with where I ended up opening up to this person. You know what I'm saying? Because this is why I should have just cut them off early. This is what I mean about the attachment. You may not like somebody, you may have this negative feeling towards them, but you kept them around for too long, or you kept engaging with this person despite the negative interactions, and now you're just like, I can't remove them. I'm going to feel bad because I care about it, because I have this attachment, and, you know. And look, again, I'm not going to block you. But if you decide to tell me your personal things, I ain't sharing my personal things with you anymore. Not interested. If someone prompts me about it, I'll just say, good, it's fine. I never report bad news to certain people. Like, hey Andre, how's work going? Good. Aku, how are you and this person? Good. How are you feeling about this situation right now in life that you're seeing all over the news, Aku? How do you feel about this? I'm not sure. Or I'll say, I didn't look into it much. Or I'll say, I don't know. Or I just won't reply. There you go. Someone starts talking to me about the thing, even though I just said all that stuff, I'll just be like, oh, wow. Yeah, that's bad, man. Sometimes I'll just do what therapists do. I'll just repeat everything you're telling me, but in a different way. Literally, the therapist method. I'll just say what you just told me differently back to you, as if I care about what you're talking about. Like, I'm just not, because if I were to say how I truly felt about what you're talking about or this topic, you're gonna start getting mad or this and that, or you get any feelings, and then so I just be like, all right, okay, wow, that's rough. Remember what I said in the older video? I'm not in the business of arguing. I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm reserving my judgment, and I'll act accordingly based on that. This is what I mean about being too nice, though. Not being too nice doesn't mean you have to be mean to someone. You could just set up a barrier like I'm doing. You could just keep it cordial. You can just reply on your own time if you want to. You could just avoid conflict overall to reserve your peace. Being too nice, you know what being too nice is? In summary, is letting yourself feel like you owe people your emotions, your time, and your reactions. All you'll do is drain yourself, distract yourself, and then get caught up in other people's drama, even though it has nothing to do with you. And it's just, and it stresses you out. Why do you want to purposely stress yourself out for? Maybe I'm just a jerk. I don't know. I wasted so much of my time feeling like I need to give people responses or engage in someone else's nonsense. Like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being nice to people over because, like, I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. Like, I don't want to hurt your little feelings, all that stuff. Like, because I do care about your feelings. You know what I'm saying? I care about you, but like, dude, what about me? You know what I'm saying? How do you think I feel? How do you think I feel putting up with this person or engaging in their drama or their sob stories all day? How do you think that affects me, though? You can say I'm a selfish person for not wanting to hurt people's feelings. So, like, I don't want to block them or I'll BS someone through a conversation, like I was saying earlier about the therapist thing. I'm BSing through a conversation. Like, I'm not really listening to what you're saying. I'm just repeating. Like, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? You can say I'm selfish for all that stuff, but I'd rather protect my peace. I'd rather do that than deal with whatever they got going on that makes my day harder or puts me through unhappy feelings or stresses me out. I don't want, like, dude, hey, again, say, dude, what about me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't make myself accessible like this. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. I love you all. I'm out.